Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Okay. Oh, Kanhaiya has joined as well. Hare Krishna, Kanhaiya.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dhanwad Pranam. Sorry, I'm still at work, but my headphones are on, so I'm here.
No, that's fine. I can hear you fine.
Yeah. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Hare Krishna. And so it's always done by the mercy of Krishna that the obstacles are removed. Sometimes the removal of obstacles comes. Sorry. What I meant to say was the mercy of Krishna sometimes comes through the blessings of devotees. So that's the other point we have to remember. And that's why we have to always be seeking blessings of devotees if we want to make progress in the path of devotion. So, and we'll talk a little more detail. We'll talk about what are some of the positive things we can do to progress on the path of devotional service. But let's first finish the discussion on the obstacles itself. So some of the obstacles we talked about was too much eating, too much endeavoring for the material things. Biggest one was getting involved in the discussion of other people in terms of criticizing them, and keeping association of worldly people, right? And having too much greed for material things. Those are the things we had talked about in terms of obstacles. There's some others that we didn't talk about. So for example, are you familiar with the word Anartha? Would anybody like to explain to me what is an Anartha or what are Anarthas? How many are there? Yes, Aminu, go ahead.
Oh, I think Chaitanya wanted to.
Okay, either one.
Sorry.
Prabhuji, I know about few anarthas like offenses towards Vaishnavas, Vaishnava Prad,
Okay.
and offense towards Harinam, like when you're chanting.
Okay.
And there are many more.
Sure. So we'll talk about those offenses also, but let's come back to the discussion of anarthas first. So, Abhinav, do you want to answer that? Yeah.
So anarthas are anything that are unwanted. Any unwanted tendency that we may have are anarthas.
Sure. Okay. Any examples?
Examples like procrastination, being lazy, being greedy or envious of others.
Anger.
I'm sorry?
Anger.
Yes.
Attachment, like
Mm-hmm.
Having attachment towards like moha in general.
Correct.
Or yeah, I think anger.
So yeah, so you're right. You're all on the right track. So it's anger, it's greed, envy. Another one is pride. Then you have lust, which is like calm. Right? So calm, krodh, and anger I already said. So calm, krodh, moh, yeah. And the last one is illusion or attachment to material things. So those are the 6 main anarthas. And there are many other ones that you have mentioned, some of which you have mentioned also. So those anarthas keep us from performing or improving our devotional service. Does anybody know which is the worst one as far as Krishna is concerned? Which is the worst of these 6 anarthas? Can you make a guess?
Pride.
Yes, absolutely right. Krishna will accept just, or I should say tolerate just about anything, but it does not tolerate pride. And whether it's an ordinary, Tom, Dick, or Harry, or the purest of the devotees, normally very, very dear to Krishna, but if they become proud in the sense of being puffed up, because there's 2 types of pride. There's a good pride, there's a bad pride. So bad pride is a puffed up. So he does not appreciate anybody getting puffed up. And the examples of even Radharani, he left her. You all know the story about Ras Leela where he left her? Yes, no? Okay, I see one shaking head means no. So I'll quickly, Hare Krishna Sneha.
Krishna Prabhuji.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. So we're just discussing anarthas. And I was just mentioning that pride is the worst of the anarthas as far as Krishna is concerned. And the story I was going to tell was that everybody knows about the Ras Leela that happened when Krishna played his flute and invited 3 billion gopis. Not 30, not 300, not 3,000, not 30,000. 3 billion gopis showed up. And they had a dance, a big dance party. And in that dance, Radharani and Krishna said, you know what, too many people, I'm not enjoying it. Not everybody deserves to be here, really. So the two of them took off from the party. And then they were together. They were having a great time. And then Radharani felt a little pride that, look, Krishna loves me the most. That's why he left everybody, all 3 billion of them. And he came with me. And she said, Krishna, I'm tired. So Krishna knew right away Radharani is getting puffed up. She said, oh, no problem. I'll sit. You sit on my shoulder, then we'll walk. So I said, well, that sounds like a great idea. So Krishna sat down. Radharani raised one foot. And as soon as he did that, he disappeared. So now Radharani was all by herself. So she was crying, and finally she met the gopis. It's a longer story. But the point is, Radharani is the dearmost devotee of Krishna, eternal consort of Krishna. But even her pride, he didn't care for. Another quick example is Narada Muni, who's another very pure devotee, very dear to Krishna. And Narada Muni has I guess you can call it benediction, that he's allowed to go anywhere. He doesn't have to knock on the doors. He doesn't need to write an email beforehand or send a text, I'm coming. Are you available? He just shows up and it's all okay. So one time he was traveling in space and said, you know what? I'm so lucky. I can go anywhere, anytime I want. And Krishna said, Narada Muni, there's a problem here. You're getting too puffed up. And he made him lose his way. So now can you imagine being lost in space? All dark. And you're not really exactly on an airplane. You're just by yourself. There's no airplane you're sitting on. So how uncomfortable that would be. So the Narada Muni said, I know what's happening. So my Lord, please forgive me. I got puffed up. And then right away, he showed up in Golok Vrindavan. So my point is, those are the extreme examples, but Krishna doesn't like pride. So actually, I read somewhere, it said, the surest way to fall is become proud. Guaranteed. You become proud, you'll fall. And so that's one anartha of the 6 that Krishna just does not like. What's wrong with envy? Anybody wants to tell me? What's wrong with envy?
It makes you think of more materialistic things that you would like in your life, which would make you more attached to things, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time, you would develop ill feelings towards a devotee if they have it.
Right. Talk to me about the harm it does to you. Like, you mean anybody who's envious? What harm does it do to an envious person? Yeah, Abhinav.
So if it's like I don't want them to have what they have, right? It's like I want to deprive them of what they have. That's the harm that it does. I want to take. I don't want people that have what they have. I don't want them to have it anymore. That's the harm that it does.
Okay, sure. What else?
It corrupts your intentions. It makes you occupy your mind about thinking of hoarding, of thinking of other things that could expand your materialistic life. And it totally deters your spiritual growth because now you're thinking about that.
Correct. Absolutely correct. Anything else?
Prabhuji, I think it kills compassion and love from your heart.
Yeah, it does. Absolutely does. So, and that's how it hampers your devotional life, because now you're so consumed by these thoughts. And sometimes it becomes so bad that you do yourself harm so the other person can have more harm. And there was a story about a person who was so envious of his neighbor. And like everything he had, that neighbor had double, triple, quadruple, and better and all that. So he got so frustrated, he performed lots of austerities to demigods. And one of the demigods came and said, so what would you like? I can give you 3 benedictions. So he was very happy that now I'll ask more. But before he could ask, the demigod said, but remember, whatever I give you, I'll give double that to your neighbor. Now you can imagine how upset this person must be. And he said to himself, this demigod thinks he's very smart. I'm smarter than him. I'll show him. He said, okay, I'm ready for my benediction. Okay. He said, break one of my eyes. So I'll be one-eyed, but the neighbor would be blind. And then he says, break one of my hands. So I'll have only one hand, but my neighbor will have none. And for third one, break one of my legs. So now neighbor will have no legs. So my point is that an envious person will not hesitate to harm himself or herself due to envy he feels for another person. So both from material perspective and devotional perspective, envy is very bad. Yeah, Jennifer, you want to say something?
Yeah, Prabhu, one good, like when you were talking about that story, it reminded me of a very common saying we have, right? Crab mentality. Like the crabs will all stay stuck in the bucket. They just need one crab to come out.
Correct. That's
And
right.
then everybody can come out in a chain, like holding on to the other's claw, and they all can come out of the bucket.
Absolutely.
That crab mentality is such that you don't let that one person go in the fear that he will leave, but he's not going to go. And that one chance that you had to together leave, you can't even do that. So
that's exactly right. They actually pull him down. If one of them tries to go out, they pull him down. You know, how dare you? So yeah, that's absolutely right. So my point is, I'm just giving some examples that anarthas are really bad for your devotion service. And also your consciousness is so negatively affected that it becomes very difficult for a person to progress in the path of devotion service. So, I mean, we can go on, but I think we need to move to other topics. So the point is that the anarthas are a real hindrance to make progress, or in making progress on the path of devotion service. Other one, I think Chaitanya was talking about, that's offenses. I mean, they're serious. They're very serious. The most serious is the offense against another devotee. You know, I have seen this more than once, that if you say something to a child, something negative, the mother just is ready to pounce upon you and kill you right on the spot. Even if it was something, you know, mild criticism, a mother will not like that at all. I've seen it so many times. Krishna is the same way. To Krishna, we are all his children, but the devotees are his more dear children, and the purest devotees are the dearest children. So you criticize his pure devotees or even devotees, that's a sure recipe for upsetting Krishna. So much so that if we offend Krishna, let's say Krishna in deity form, we make offenses. There are many offenses that we can do. Chanting Krishna's name will get rid of that offense. However, when we criticize or offend a devotee, there's no cure. I mean, you're done. I guess the only cure is that you apologize to the devotee and hope that he or she will forgive you. And that offense doesn't just hamper your progress, it actually destroys whatever devotional credits you have earned. Lord Chaitanya actually gave an example of a mad elephant. He said, just like a mad elephant, if you leave him in a garden, In 5 minutes, the whole garden will be destroyed. He said, offending a devotee is like having an elephant in a garden, a mad elephant. Your devotional service will be finished. He uses the word devotional creeper, will be destroyed completely. How's your neck doing today, Jennifer? No? Yeah, you're wincing.
I cannot. It's just very bad.
Yeah, that's too bad.
It's totally gone. Like there's only the sleep time I have rest in my neck. It's totally gone.
Oh,
I
no.
can't. Yeah, I know. Probably would have broken somebody's neck in my previous birth. So I think I deserve it. I don't know. I've eaten too many chickens, Prabhu. So I think I
That would
deserve
do it.
it.
That would do it. Well, at least you have stopped now. So there's hope.
Yeah, but that's the thing, right? I gotta bear it.
I know. Yeah, that's true. But that's okay. Have some patience. Okay. All right. So any questions on obstacles? So offenses, anarthas, and other 6 things that we talked about last month are the major obstacles. Did we talk about mind, by the way, last month?
No.
Okay, so let's talk about that also, because that's a major obstacle as well. So how does mind become an obstacle? Anybody wants to tell me? Or do you agree that mind can be an obstacle?
Yeah.
Okay, so tell me how.
Mind controls all the other senses and interprets them. And it's like it never lets you be in the moment. It's always giving you a task to do. And because of that reason, you're never really focusing on the consciousness. You're focusing on all the tasks it asks you to do.
Correct. Do you know the 3 functions of mind? The 3
Thinking,
specific
feeling,
functions.
and thinking, feeling, willing.
Yes, correct. Exactly right. Thinking, feeling, and willing are the 3 major functions of the mind. Now, let me talk about a hierarchy within which we all live. So we have consciousness, we have intelligence, we have mind, we have senses, and then we have sense objects. I'm sure you know the first 4, but what is sense object? Does anybody know?
The objects with which senses, we use senses, like a sense object can be like a laptop, using a laptop right now. It's a sense object right now.
Correct.
Or maybe food.
Absolutely. And basically you can say any material things we become attached to is a sense object. So a flower, I'm sorry, go ahead, can I hear?
Sorry, yeah. Can it be like the eyes, tongue, and
No, those are senses.
Okay.
Eyes, ears, nose, mouth, skin, they are our 5 senses.
But not the objects.
No, so that's what I was going to say. So objects are things that attract these senses. So for example, what would attract our ears?
Some good music or
what? Some nice Bollywood, Hollywood music.
Or gossip.
Yes. Rock and roll or rumba, huh?
Gossip or something.
Well, yeah, that too. Yes. That too. What will attract your nose?
Fragrance. Scent.
Fragrance. Yeah.
Prasadam smell.
Prasadam.
Okay. Sure, smell of prasadam. Yes. But that will also attract your mouth, right? Your tongue. Right. So these are sense objects. For skin, it's the touch of something soft and nice. So those are sense objects. So these are consciousness, intelligence, mind. Says 5 things. There are 5 things that there's a hierarchy for. What do you think in normal world, everyday world, is on the top, controlling everything else?
Mind.
Okay. Anybody else?
Senses.
Senses. Okay. Anybody else?
What's your question again? Could you repeat it?
Out of these 5 things, so sense objects, senses, mind, intelligence, and consciousness. In the normal everyday world.
Consciousness.
Okay. Only a couple of things left. So, any other guesses?
Objects, so
I'm sorry.
sense objects.
Sense objects. In the material world, everything starts with sense objects. Your senses act when you hear something good, or you see something nice, right? Or you see something you can, you feel this will taste great, right? So sense objects are basically governing us. So what happens is the senses become attracted to the sense objects. That's how it starts, right? And then the senses force the mind to say, you better be feeling like willing to do what we want to do. Otherwise, we will be like the 5 horses on a chariot, each of which wants to run in different directions. What will happen to the chariot when 5 horses? Yeah, it will break, disintegrate, right? So the mind says, okay, fine. Now I feel like going to the club. I feel like going to the movie. I feel like eating the chicken, all those kind of things, right? I'm willing to do all that. I'm thinking about doing all that. What is the function of intelligence? There's one major function.
To govern them, to think.
What is right, what is wrong.
What is right, what is wrong.
Define.
That's what intelligence function is. I'll come back to your point, Jennifer, in a second. It's a very good point. I don't want to forget it. And consciousness. What is consciousness?
Us, like
I'm
who we
sorry?
are. Like us as in like people who we are internally.
We are conscious. What's the literal
Self-realization.
meaning of word consciousness? Yeah, can I hear?
Self-realization.
Awareness.
Awareness. That's the right answer I'm looking for. Consciousness means awareness. So now, when the material sense objects are attracting the senses, who's controlling the mind, who's telling the intelligence, yes, this is the right thing to do, what will be our consciousness like? Material. Does it make sense? Okay, now let's reverse it. Let's say somebody is into Krishna consciousness. Now, the real hierarchy is consciousness, intelligence, mind, senses, and sense objects. So somebody in Krishna consciousness says, I'm very aware of Krishna. Everything I look at, everything I see, everything I think about is Krishna. So for a person like that, what will the intelligence say is the right thing to do? Go to the temple or go to the bar?
Bar.
Bar, exactly. I know. What's the nice thing to associate with a person of opposite sex or a devotee?
Devotee.
Right? What's the nice thing to read? Bhagavatam or some mundane book? Right? My point is now intelligence deciding those things. So when intelligence decides to say, because I'm being governed by Krishna consciousness, I want to go to temple, I want to go to Bhagavatam and all that. And then because it controls the mind says, yeah, I'm willing to go to the temple. I feel like reading Bhagavatam, right? I think I should meet this devotee and do some Krishna Katha. When that happens, the senses are now becoming attracted to the beautiful form of the deity, great tasting prasadam, wonderful kirtan, hearing the kirtan, and hugging and dancing with the devotees, right? Everything is now opposite of what the previous scenario was. So in the material consciousness, sense objects govern everything. In Krishna consciousness, consciousness governs everything. Now, is that point clear? It may have a long example, but it's very important that we understand this point. The difference between Krishna consciousness and material consciousness, and what happens to life in those two extreme scenarios.
And also, Prabhu, intelligence, the meaning of intelligence changes depending on what our consciousness is at. Because a lot of times, like a lot of people consider people who are professionals, people who make good money, and all of those, or have many degrees, to be intelligent. And sometimes even devotees would refer to somebody intelligent or smart because they are in a certain field of work.
Mhm.
But even as being one of those professionals, it's important for us to retain the idea of that intelligence is not about how great you are at handling materialistic activity if it's totally independent of your Krishna consciousness. True intelligence lies in the knowledge of Krishna and relating everything back to that. So like a lot of times somebody could be Krishna conscious, but would still refer to their intelligence as a materialistic. But that is, I feel like that is not the right way of calling it, because we don't get the word intelligence. It's a misnomer, right? Like intelligence means books, degrees, a job, career, profession, right? But it technically just means knowledge of the scriptures, knowledge of Krishna. That's it.
Correct. So actually, if you look at chapter 7, text 15, Krishna uses a word mudha for people with lots of degrees and all those kind of things. And mudha means an idiot, fool, right? So just to support your point, Krishna is totally supporting what you just said. But what happens is, because our consciousness, majority of the people anyway, consciousness is material, then that definition of intelligence applies that you just mentioned. Degrees and, great, that's the 7 types of intelligence, material intelligence, as you know. It could be in dancing, it could be something mechanical, it could be math, it could be logic. Different types of intelligence are there, right? 7 different types, but they're all material. But because 99.99% of the people are materialistic, that's the definition that's popular. But you're right. Knowledge is not about how fast you can run or what kind of a car you can design. Knowledge, if you know, do you know how to get out of this material world? Do you know how to stop birth and death and all those kind of things? So again, it's all a matter of what consciousness you have. You go out in a bar and try to tell somebody that your intelligence sucks, and it's totally wrong, and you should be going to the temple. They'll throw you out. Mood kharab kar rahe ho yaar. Right? In such a good mood, having my beer, and you're talking about nonsense. To them, this is nonsense. So my point was that is why consciousness becomes very important. So if we are in material consciousness, performing devotional service becomes very difficult. So this is why we keep talking about Krishna consciousness. Another point, just to support what I just said, in a typical temple, typical ISKCON temple, what are the activities that happen? So one example is Aarti. Give me some other examples of what happens in a typical ISKCON temple activities. I'm sorry?
Kirtan, prasadam distribution.
Kirtan,
book
prasadam
reading.
distribution, book, yeah. What else?
Nice kirtan.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Bhagavatam classes.
Bhagavatam classes, right. So those are the activities that Prabhupada also emphasized. However, have you noticed, he did not call the institution he established International Society for Kirtan. It will be ISOC. He did not call it International Society for Prasadam. ISOC. Right? He did not call it International Society for Aarti. ISOC. Right? And go on, any number of activities. He did not call it International Society for that activity. He called it International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Why? Have you ever wondered? We don't do any activity for the consciousness. We do activities like Aarti, Kirtan, Prasadam, classes, discussions, on and on. So why did he call it ISKCON?
it's for Krishna consciousness. All these things should aid your Krishna consciousness to grow.
So the point you're making is that he considered consciousness to be the main thing. I call it Krishna consciousness. He said, and therefore your consciousness has to be dovetailed with Krishna. And that's why I called it conscious. The most important thing is that your consciousness should be with Krishna. All the activities we do are to purify our consciousness. But the purpose of all those activities is to purify the consciousness. But that is the most important thing. Does that make sense? If not, let's discuss it again.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, it makes sense. Now, yeah, discuss again.
No, it makes sense.
Oh, okay, all right. Okay, so that's the point. That it's all about consciousness. So the reason we want to progress on the path of devotional service is we want to purify our consciousness. We want to get to the stage of pure Krishna consciousness. So it's not because it's fashionable. It's not because you look nice in the tika and kurta and dhoti or sari or whatever. It's because it's all about consciousness. We're trying to purify our consciousness because then and then only we'll develop love of Krishna. If there's anything material about our consciousness, we cannot develop full love of Krishna and go back home to God. Even if it is 1% impure, we cannot go to Goloka Vrindavan Dham. So the whole thing, devotional service, is about purifying our consciousness. And that's why we started the discussion tonight by saying obstacles are good. Because I think Sudhanshu said that they purify. They purify us. Right? So yes, we need to remove the obstacles, but we don't need to hate the obstacles. They are actually purifying us. But we cannot be just focused on obstacles. We got to focus on the positive things we do, not just to remove the obstacles, but also move ahead as fast as we can. So it's like if anybody plays soccer, you want to get around the person who's coming to stop you with your ball. Somehow you want to get the ball behind him and then run to the ball and keep going till you can score the goal. Right? And that's the idea. So are we clear on what are we discussing here? Why are we discussing here? What's the purpose of this thing?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So then let's talk about the positive things we can do to increase our Krishna consciousness. We are clear on why we want to increase Krishna consciousness, right? That's the most important point in today's discussion. If still not clear, I don't mind if you say, can you discuss a little bit more? Don't be shy. Okay, all right. So then let's talk about it. Can you think of some examples, things that will help you increase your Krishna consciousness?
Association.
Association of who?
Devotees.
Okay, all right. Yes. So association of devotees, probably the most fundamental and the most important thing to do. Can you tell me why? How does devotee association help you increase your devotional service?
Because in that way, yeah,
Go ahead, Prabhu.
go ahead.
So you spoke about the sense object part of it. So, I mean, the more we surround ourselves with sense objects, which have got to do with Krishna, I'm not objectifying human beings, but with their own objects, right? So that much our consciousness can grow.
Okay, sure. I'm sorry, Abhinav, go ahead.
Where are the others? Oh, sorry, my bad. Sorry, I was just talking to my mom.
I'm sorry. Okay, Sudhanshu, you were saying?
Basically, being with devotees, you get more inspiration to be more Krishna conscious, to have like more love for Krishna. And in that way, when you have more inspiration, you can do other things better, like more chanting, more sense control, more reading, more listening, everything. So basically everything starts with association.
Sure, I agree. Anybody else? Okay, so just to support what the two of you have said, if you associate with jackals, I think it's very highly likely that you'll become like a jackal and just howl and do nothing else. But if you associate with eagles, you'll probably soar like eagles, right? So there was a saying some time ago, I remember hearing that, show me your friends and I'll tell you what kind of a person you are, or something like that. I'm not sure I'm saying it 100% the right way, but like, you're known by your company. I think that's the saying. You're known by your company. So same thing. So what are some of the other, you say you get inspired. What are some of the other reasons that devotee association helps you?
Like Prabhuji, we get
Yes.
to do, um,
Go ahead, Sneha, go ahead.
like when we are associating with the devotees, they'll encourage us to do more devotional service. They'll give us some service, like, go and help in the kitchen, or like, do you want to come for book distribution, or like they'll
Sure.
encourage us to attend kirtan. So which won't be possible if we are by ourselves. So
Correct.
like that's how it helps us to progress.
Yes, absolutely right. Absolutely right. How else? What are the other ways? Yes, Sudhanshu?
Being a human being, it's necessary, and it's really important to associate with other people. Like, you can't be alone on your own.
Correct.
So instead of associating with materialistic people, it's better to associate with devotees, because that will really help you.
Yeah, so
Because you have to associate with someone.
Yeah, so I'm asking you to be more explicit. I agree with your statement, but be more explicit as to how. So for example, I can give you an example. With the devotees, what would be the topic of your discussions?
Krishna.
Krishna. With the non-devotees, what would you be talking about?
Materialistic things.
Right. So that's an impact on your consciousness. Right? So they're helping you right there to improve your consciousness towards Krishna. Right? How else does devotee association help?
Prabhuji, like everybody can be going through some problems, but when we discuss it with some devotees, they can like guide us. They might have gone through the same problem, and they can guide us in a better way. Counsel us.
Absolutely right. And it's a very, very important point. I mean, all the points are very important. Along the same lines, there's something a little bit more than that. And that is, sometimes we get discouraged in our spiritual life. Sometimes we even get to the point, it's not worth it, I'm leaving. Too many hassles, too many issues. And I thought the devotees were pure, and look, they're acting just like other non-devotees. So what's the use? And we get very discouraged, down on ourselves. It is at that point that devotees will help you. They'll give you a hand, lend you a hand to support you and pick you up through that encouragement that we were talking about earlier, right? Sharing the experiences, giving a pep talk, if you will, all those kind of things. Whereas a non-devotee would say, yeah, I told you before, come on, here's a beer, have one on me, and they're very happy to pay for your beer. And so that's the difference. That's a huge, huge point for devotee association. It really, really makes a big difference. And the funny thing, not the funny, but the important thing is that if the association is constant, then the consciousness changes so much that the whole thought process changes. And then the intelligence keeps saying that, yeah, go back to the temple, chant a few more rounds, eat only prasadam, cook some prasadam, do some service in the temple, on and on and on. It just changes so much. The whole thought process changes because the consciousness has been affected in that direction. So devotee association becomes very, very important. And by the way, that is one of the main reasons Prabhupada emphasized the construction of temples. Because think about it. A lot of people say, I got deities at my home. And I serve them regularly. So why do I need to go to the temple? Right? If it's just about serving the deity, I can do it at home. Some people will tell you that Krishna is everywhere. So why do I need to go anywhere? Wherever I am, Krishna is there and I can serve it. Why do I need to come to the temple? Right? What's the answer?
How can consciousness be changed at home when you're just associating with yourself only?
Please say again. I'm sorry.
Like being at a home, serving the deities, yes, it can help you, but ultimately it cannot change your consciousness totally. At the home is, and associating with devotees can help you.
Okay.
So basically going to temple is, yes, for serving as well, but the main reason is for association as well.
Correct. What
Also,
else?
for devotees who are initiated, like if we see Mahaprabhu's ways of doing things, his most important thing was Sankirtan. And so that defeats the purpose, because Kirtan is beautiful, but the thing of calling out to the Lord together as a full human race is more impactful, because that creates that family that Krishna, that we are for Krishna.
Absolutely. Actually, that reminds me. Do you know the meaning of the word Sankirtan?
Everybody together doing Kirtan?
Yeah, so that's definitely correct. But there's a little bit more to it. And that is the definition as given by Jiva Goswami. And he said, first of all, there's two words here, Samyak and Kirtan. It's some Kirtan. The word Samyak means complete. Kirtan means congregational chanting. So the word Samyak becomes very important because it says doing something completely for the one who's complete. Literally, that's what it means. So therefore, Sankirtan is always for the glorification of the one who's complete. That one is Krishna. So you never do Sankirtan to glorify, I don't know, Salman Khan or somebody like that. Right? You do Sankirtan to glorify Krishna. The word Kirtan itself means glorification. So Samyak Kirtan means complete glorification of the complete entity, which is Krishna. So that's why we say we do Sankirtan. But like Jennifer, you said, you cannot do Sankirtan alone. You can do Kirtan alone. You can do chanting alone. No problem. But it's not Sankirtan. And it's very difficult to, even if you're a very good singer, not like me, it's very difficult to start chanting and start dancing. But it's very easy to start dancing when other people are singing or chanting. Like in ISKCON, I know that our feet move automatically. Even if we don't know how to dance, some of the feet start moving. The head starts going like this, a lot of the hand also, start going like that automatically. It's not a deliberate effort. That's the kind of effect Sankirtan has. So you won't get that at home. Another point. Is Maya acting upon you when you're home, or says, no, you're home, let me leave you alone? So Maya is still acting on you. So what is the opposite force at home? Because as you know, law of motion, Newton's law of motion, the thing will move whichever direction the force is being applied. And it will keep moving until there's a counter force in the opposite direction, right? This is why if you try to move a table in dirt, it's pretty well impossible. If you take the same table, put on a skating rink, it's very easy to move it. So what's the difference? What's the reason? Anybody in science? What is the reason?
No
It's
friction.
one word answer. One word answer. Say it.
like there is no friction.
Yes, that's the word. Friction. There's barely any friction on ice, but lots of friction in dust or mud or whatever, right? But friction is the force acting against the force that's trying to move the table. It's equal and opposite direction. So unless there's some counter force against Maya, you simply move with Maya. Make sense? And therefore, you'll be very soon overwhelmed with Maya, which is what's happening. The counter force is coming from other devotees, from kirtan, from deity worship, from discussions, from reading, from discussions about the negative effects of Maya, how harmful it is. All those things are the forces that keep you away from Maya. Right? If it was just about deities, there are so many shops in India that sell, they call them idols. But not one single shop that I know of that made devotees. But temples make devotees. Why? Not the building, but the devotees in the temples make other devotees. So that's why it's so important to go to the temple. Right? So that's another positive thing we do or can do to help in our Krishna consciousness. What's the next thing? Any ideas?
Reading.
Yes, absolutely right. Tell me more.
Having prasadam, offering everything, and then having
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
fasting.
Yes, sure. Fasting. Yeah. Chanting. Yes, absolutely.
And hearing as well, like
Hearing. Yeah, absolutely right. So actually, Lord Chaitanya said 5 things. They are absolutely critical to make progress on the path of devotional service. Rupa Goswami said 64 things. And Lord Chaitanya said, yeah, that's great. But 5 of those 64 are key. Some of them have already been mentioned. So chanting is one, obviously. Second is deity worship. Third is devotee association. Fourth is reading books like Srimad Bhagavatam. And fifth is residing in Dham. Now, so first 4 are easy to understand, right? Chanting, I think we understand. Deity worship, we understand. Reading Bhagavatam, we understand, right? Our devotee association, we understand. But what is residing in Dham? I mean, you live in Vancouver, we live in GTA. Where's the Dham coming from? So are we not doing that? Or can we be doing that? So first, let's understand, what does residing in Dham mean? What is a Dham, for example? When we talk
place
about
of worship.
a place of worship, that's correct. What else?
Where Krishna is always present.
Where Krishna is always present. Although one could argue Krishna is always present everywhere.
Where
Yeah,
Krishna
but
has
devotees are not present.
Okay, devotee and Krishna are present. Yes, sorry?
I'm not sure, Prabhu. I want clarification. But isn't Dham a place where Krishna performed his pastimes, or no?
Yes. Krishna or one of the incarnations.
Oh, Krishna, one of them.
Yeah. What else? So basically what you're defining is, or rather insisting, is that Dham is a physical place. Right? So I will submit to you, Dham is not. Dham is a state of mind. So think about that for a second. Dham is a state of mind. What does that mean? You know, Rupanuga sometimes uses big words, but he doesn't know what it means. So tell me, what does it mean?
Where you're mentally present.
Yes, for sure. But it goes a little bit more than that.
Where your mentality is always engaged in Krishna.
Yes, absolutely. Getting very, very close.
Which becomes the seat of Krishna's presence.
Yes.
Like Krishna is the center and all the activities are revolving around him.
Now you got it. So all the other answers were correct, but they're circling around this point. Because whatever you do, if it's not pleasing Krishna, then what's the purpose? The purpose of our life is to please Krishna. So dham is a state of mind where anything and everything you do is for just one purpose. That's to please Krishna. Whether you chant, whether you cook, whether you read, or whether you do some rituals, if they're not for the pleasure of Krishna, what is the use? Let me give you an example. Say you go to the temple. There's somebody there who's a very good dancer. And he starts dancing. And everybody's clapping, wow, this person beats Elvis Presley, way better than that. Some of you probably don't even know who Elvis Presley is, but anyway. And the guy is just looking at everybody, admiring him, dancing like crazy. Well, that's not dancing to please Krishna. That's dancing to please himself. Therefore, that activity is not considered an activity in the dham or activity in the service of Krishna. I know somebody in our Toronto temple, wonderful singer, but he will not sing unless there's at least 100 people in the temple and the proper mridanga player, proper kartal players are there, he won't sing. Then you're not doing it for Krishna. So that's my point. Just two examples to tell you what I mean by that. So the state of mind has to be that the purpose of whatever I'm doing is to please Krishna. And then you don't have to be the best singer in the world. You don't have to be the best mridanga player in the world, best dancer in the world. It could be anything. But as long as the mood is that you want to please Krishna, then he's okay. So dham is where we're keeping Krishna in the center, but every activity is for the pleasure of Krishna. Otherwise, not interested. Now, let's take Vrindavan Dham as an example. During Krishna's time, was there any example of anybody doing, not talking about demons, anybody doing anything that was not for the pleasure of Krishna? What did the gopis do? They left their husbands, they left their children, their family, they left whatever they were doing to be with Krishna. Think Govardhan Leela. Everybody's familiar with Govardhan Leela, right? So just before it happened, what was going on? Somebody wants to tell me? What was going on? Yes, Abhinav?
So all the residents of Vrindavan, they were worshipping Indra.
Yes. Yes. So they were getting ready to worship Indra. The cooking was being done, cleaning was being done, decorations were being done. Everybody's very busy. And then Krishna interrupted. I said, Baba, he's talking to Nanda Maharaj, his father. Baba, what's going on? Baba is busy, he didn't say anything. So he asked again, Baba, what's going on? Please tell me. Baba ignored him. So now he's tugging at his kurta. Baba, 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 Baba. Finally, he said, okay, what? I said, tell me what's going on. So Nanda Maharaj explained the preparation for Indra Puja. Krishna said, why? Nanda Maharaj explained again. He is the god of rains. We are farmers. We depend upon rain for the grass. And the grass there, the cows will be happy, on and on. And Krishna said, no. You worship Govardhan. And you know the rest of the story. And they agreed. And here's my point. Do you believe Nanda Maharaj did not understand how angry Indra would be? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Yes, he understood. Did he understand how much harm Indra would do when he's angry? Yes. Did he understand that there may be loss of human life, animal life, property, whole devastation will happen? Did he not understand that? He did. Still he said, okay. So what was that one single reason that made him say to himself, I'll suffer all that loss? What was that one single reason?
Krishna, faith in Krishna for the pleasure.
I just want to make Krishna happy. If I die, I die. If everybody else dies, they die. But right now, I want to make Krishna happy. And that's the type of thing I'm talking about. That is Dham. So Lord Chaitanya says, reside in Dham all the time. Now, can you imagine the progress you will make in the path of a devotional service if you are constantly living in the Dham as a state of mind? The whole life would be different. The whole life. I mean, imagine asking yourself every time you do something, is this going to please Krishna? And not do it if the answer is no. You'll be living a different life. Right? So, very, very important. Lord Chaitanya said, these are the 5 things that are critical to make progress. There's a bhajan. You may have heard this. Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Yaduvaya Nama. Okay, so that one says, what does it say? Tandere Charana Se Vibhakta Sanivas. I'm just trying to remember. Yeah, yes. H hai Gosai Kari Charana Vandan, Jaha Hote Bigna Nash Abhishta Puran. Bigna means obstacles. So I worship the lotus feet of the devotees whose simple presence and their association will destroy all my obstacles. And Abhishta Puran means my heart's desire would be fulfilled. So this is Narottam Das Thakur singing. Saying devotee association is so powerful, it will remove the obstacles just by my touching their feet. So again, very, very important. Then there's another verse in Nectar of Instruction, which talks about the 6 things that increase your devotional service. You may have heard this verse. Utsahat Nishtayat, Utsahat Dharyat, Tat Karma Pravartanat, Sangatyagat Sato Vritte, Sharbhi Bhakti Prasiddhati. So first thing says enthusiasm. Now, so why is enthusiasm good for you? How does it increase your devotional service? Yes, Abhidha?
Because without enthusiasm, you can't do anything, right? You have to like doing it.
Correct. And any other reason?
Like when we are doing it with enthusiasm, we are putting our heart. But when we are not doing it without enthusiasm, it's more like a formality.
Correct. Sometimes even almost reluctantly or grudgingly.
And the intention is impure. So ultimately the outcome may not be what you're thinking.
Absolutely. And that's a very important point because Krishna is known as Bhavgrahi. Does anybody know what that means? The word Bhavgrahi.
Person who like graha, to understand emotion, bhav.
Right. Yeah, the bhav is your emotions or your intent. Grahi means he accepts. So he accepts your intent more than your activity.
There was this one story that I had read once, like about a real life story where there was this Krishna Murti, and somebody entered in the temple in Rajasthan and was feeling really thirsty. So he went up to the offering directly in the clothes that he like. Usually you should always wash your hands and clean everything and then go there. But the man just entered the temple and directly went to the deities and took the water and drank it and took the food that was available there and finally sat and was like, oh my gosh, feeling better. And the pujari came, and out of fear, he was like, oh, you shouldn't do this. You will get something bad will happen to you because you did this. And that man apparently, I mean, I don't know how much paraphrasing, but it's beautiful because the genuineness with which this person, who may not be even worshipping Krishna at all, felt with seeing Krishna, and went up to him and said that, oh yeah, you're done, so it's my turn to drink, my turn to eat, because I've come traveling. And the person who does puja, instead of saying that the deities are just had it, or having that pure consciousness where he could just smile at it and be like, it's okay, it's like, but the deities are there for you. He was like, because you did this, you're going to face the repercussions. But the repercussions are not important if there is love. You're going to take from Krishna. You should take from Krishna. So if I'm thirsty, the deities there is etiquette. But sometimes if there is nothing, you go to Krishna for it, right? So
correct. Absolutely right. Yes. And that's the point. So Krishna is looking what your intention is, what your intent is, not what you're actually doing or saying. So Krishna can know that. We can't know that. So therefore, with him, it becomes very important. So if you're doing it grudgingly or reluctantly or for the sake of some prestige or honor, he's not happy. He doesn't accept it. Second is Nishtayat. Nishtayat means determination. We talked a lot about the hurdles. So determination basically means, I don't care about the obstacles. I'm marching on. And prime example is Srila Prabhupada. When he came to New York, 1 year, 1 whole year, nothing was happening. And Prabhupada was determined. He got almost killed by his roommate. I'm sure you know the story. Was high on drugs and choked him. And in the middle of the night, Prabhupada ran away from the apartment in the cold middle of the night. So things like that. His typewriter got stolen. His whole manuscript of Bhagavad Gita was sold, as trash, things like that. But he was determined. I'm going to do this. So same thing. We started this discussion with hurdles. Doesn't matter how many hurdles we get. We're determined to make progress. And when you have the determination, Krishna says, I'll help you. Don't worry. It's like in 1984, there was a movie called Superman. And I don't remember anything about that movie except one scene. I think I may have told it already. And there's the Lois Lane is falling from somewhere. Free fall, literally in free fall. And she's screaming her head off. And Superman swoops in, grabs her by the waist, and says, don't worry, I got you. And Lois Lane says, you got me, but who got you? And that's the point. When we are Krishna conscious and we're doing these things with enthusiasm, Krishna says, don't worry, I got you. I won't let you fall. But he needs to see that mood of enthusiasm, that mood of determination. And third thing is patience. We can't be saying, I'm going to stop chanting because I've been chanting 16 rounds for 6 years. Nothing has happened. So goodbye, you guys. You've been fooling me. Wasted 6 years of my life. I'm gone. Hello, bar, I come. Here I come. Right? Can't do that. We got millions of births of garbage, contamination, dirt, and all those kind of things. Chetodarpan Marjanam takes some time. So be patient. It may actually take a few lifetimes. Right? So be patient. So that's the third thing. Fourth thing is Tattat Karma Pravartana, which means study the scriptures, do other things, but the purpose should be to develop love of God. Not for the sake of doing it, not for the sake of rituals, and don't do it if it's not going to help you increase your Krishna consciousness, because otherwise it's as good as useless labor. In Bhagavatam chapter, canto 11, Krishna tells Uddhav, it's like milk, taking care of a cow who will not give you milk. So why are you wasting your time? If there's no milk, don't waste your time. Same thing. If it's not going to develop love of Krishna, don't do it. Okay. Then it says, fifth thing is santyagat. Give up the association of worldly people. And finally, another very important point, follow in the footsteps of pure devotees. How do we do that? I mean, there's no footprints there. That is okay, I'll step on the footprints and I'm okay. So what does it mean, following the footprints or footmarks?
Following the instructions.
Yes. So follow the instructions and serving them in other ways also. So following instructions is the best service, but other ways also, like, offering the prasadam, menial service for them, those kind of things. So those are the things that will help you increase your Krishna consciousness. There's one particular form of the Lord that's known for removing the obstacles. Who's that? Yes, Abhinav?
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
I'm sorry?
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
I was thinking about somebody else. Known for as a remover of obstacles. Yes. Lord Nrsimhadev, right? Lord Nrsimhadev is the remover of obstacles in the path of, I mean, you're right. Lord Chaitanya can do it, Lord Krishna can do it, Lord Ram can do it. They can't all do it. But Lord Nrsimhadev is known for removing the obstacles. So worship Lord Nrsimhadev. Chant his pranami mantra, his prayer, every day.
Most of the cultures around the world depict, may not be the exact description of Lord Nrsimhadev, but everybody has some sort of man, a lion form. All cultures, all religions, especially in Asia, but depicting that kind of obstacle remover. And I sometimes feel like, because the old ancient texts have been there forever, right? But it's crazy how this one man lion form is similar, and it's always the body of the man and the head of the lion. And till date, when they have the carnivals and all in Singapore, they have those lion-headed people going around and doing the same thing, the same acts of Lord Nrsimhadev.
Same movements too, with the paws and all that, yeah.
Even the races, like the rollers, what is it called? Roller coaster rides, have it exactly like designed in a way that you're jumping over the man lion is like following. Wow. So it's very interesting how that maybe people don't acknowledge it, but Lord Nrsimhadev has really great fan following around the world.
Yes. Yeah, so very important that we say our prayers to Lord Nrsimhadev. The mood should be, please. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a good point. Our mood should be to pray to Lord Nrsimhadev to remove obstacles from our path of Krishna consciousness, so we may become a better devotee of Lord Krishna. So those are the main points I wanted to make today. I think I'm talked out. So Sudhanshu, I think you had asked for this topic. So I need to hear from you first and then from others, whether you feel you got what you were looking for or something we missed.
Yes, Prabhuji. Basically, I learned a lot of new things from here and really inspired me a lot. And basically now I feel more to have more association with devotees.
Yes.
Because and for that I'm coming to Vancouver next week.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Great. Good and for you. Just for a visit or you're moving?
Yeah, for a visit for now.
Sorry? For a visit. Okay.
For a visit, yes.
Okay.
And yes, basically we covered everything, and yeah, everything was great. Thank you.
Okay, I'm glad. Anybody else? Or if you have questions, we can still talk.
Oh, I had a question.
Mhm.
It was from earlier in the class. When you said, so we were talking about pride, right? So my question is, how do you differentiate between like feeling good and feeling proud? Like
Very good question.
When you said Narada Muni was like, I felt like he was just feeling good that he was able to do that, right? You're not pride, so I didn't understand. So
That's an excellent question. Excellent question. So feeling good, or let's call it high self-esteem. So what's the difference between feeling proud or puffed up? I keep saying that because you can be proud for good reasons, and that's okay. And then you're proud for wrong reasons, and that's not okay. So puffed up kind of says, I'm talking about the wrong reasons to be proud. So puffed up or high self-esteem, or, as you said, the right reasons. A very basic difference, as I see it, is when you think you're the cause of your qualifications, then you're becoming proud. When you feel it's been a gift from Krishna to you, then that's high self-esteem. In both cases, you're aware of your ability. So high self-esteem does not mean that you're always down upon yourself. It may mean you're always up on yourself. I'm somebody. But the humility comes immediately saying, but it's not due to my qualifications. It's a gift from Krishna. Yeah, Jennifer, go ahead.
Prabhu, like earlier I used to have this struggle, where I used to feel like I'm feeling proud. But then I realized I'm not feeling proud, I'm feeling good. And there's a lot of difference, because when you feel proud, you feel like you are the doer, you are the achiever. And because I did this, that is why I got that, and you feel like you have that ability in you, and which is different, which makes you different. But when you feel good, it's that childish amazement that, oh my gosh, this can happen. This is so cool. Like I did it, it's the same thing of I did it, but it happens in a way where it amazes you that there's this potential that you've been blessed with, that you did not know about.
Correct.
So, and those two feelings are they give your ego a different kind of treatment. Like one humbles you, like when you feel good about things, it actually increases your faith in Krishna consciousness and in God, because you're amazed by how much he's given you to keep you good. But when you're proud, you almost start thinking that you deserve it, and that's why God's giving it to you. And you deserve nothing. I deserve nothing. It's coming to me because
Correct.
God wants to. So there's a lot of difference, and we all should feel good, and we all should feel happy about everything we do, but that should come from thankfulness to Krishna for his mercy.
Correct.
Not because you did it. So
absolutely correct. Absolutely. The other thing is that when you're proud, you like to compare yourself with other people for the purpose of showing them down. You compare to say, look, I'm so much better than you. Even if you don't use those words, your actions, your body language, other comments you might make, they show that you think you're superior. I don't mind letting people know I'm superior. You get pleasure from showing people down. And therefore start developing the thoughts about getting honored by other people, be recognized by other people, so on and so forth. Yeah, Kanhaiya, go ahead, please.
Yeah, I was thinking, Prabhu, that we can also think in a way like we should be humble than the straw of straw of grass, or meek and humble. We can also be in that mode as well.
Absolutely. So is it easier
to prevent pride or
right? So is it easier to be humble when you have high self-esteem or when you are proud?
high self-esteem.
Self-esteem.
Yeah. Why is that?
Yeah.
Why is that?
Because then you know that everything that you have is coming from a source. It's not your own.
Right. And
When
that's
you
the
think
key.
it's your own,
That is
Sarva Karanam. The causes of all causes is Krishna and nobody else.
Exactly.
And pride will create a false illusion in our minds, and it won't let us think across that. That, as we said, like he's the cause of all causes. The pride will create false illusion. What I feel.
Correct. And when you understand it's coming from somewhere else, you develop an attitude of gratitude. Right? And when you have an attitude of gratitude, it's hard to be puffed up. On the contrary, it develops appreciation for the person who's gifted you this skill. And it's hard to be proud of, in a bad way, proud of somebody else. So when you know your skills are coming from somebody else, then you're safe. Okay. Does that answer your question, Abhinav?
Yes, it does, Prabhu. I think I need to like really understand the difference for myself, what it means to be, what it means to have high self-esteem, and what, like, I need to understand for myself, like figure out how I can develop high self-esteem without feeling pride, because I feel like the difference between them for me is very, like, I'm not able to tell the difference yet. And I feel like I need to spend some time thinking about that.
It's too bad you missed that. We had a whole class.
Yeah.
It's too bad you missed it. Yeah.
Yeah. Bro, I have another question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sudhanshu wanted to say something. Maybe he can go first and I'll go after.
No, I just wanted to actually add on something to you, what you just said, that the difference between pride and humility, as we just already discussed, whenever we think that we are doing, it's pride. Whenever we think it's coming from someone, it's humility.
Correct. Absolutely correct.
Oh, so I had another question, Prabhu. Mm-hmm. How do we not find faults in other people? Like, I as of late, I feel like I'm becoming very critical of anything that I see other people doing. Like, how do I not pay attention to what other people are doing? Like, how do I just like be indifferent to what other people are doing so I don't criticize them, right? Because I feel like I've been doing that a lot lately, and I want to know how to like not criticize others and how to just mind my own business and not worry about what other people are doing, regardless of whether they're doing right or wrong.
But why do you want to stop doing that? It's so much fun. It's so much fun, man. You want to give up all that joy and pleasure and fun, you know. But so the good thing is that you're realizing it. Good thing. I think so. I mean, that's the beginning right there, that you say, hey, it's a problem. You know, I need to change.
Like for me, it's not even like that bad, but I know like if I continue doing it, it's going to become worse. Like,
correct. So, like, yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just like sometimes I'm just like judging people on small things, but I know that that's going to like snowball. It's going to become a lot worse. Right. And I want to know how to like not do that anymore.
Yeah. So a couple of things. One is the consequences. What are the consequences of criticizing other people?
I stunt my devotional progress. Or
how?
Like you said it earlier, Prabhu. So first of all, there's no cure for this, right? Criticizing devotees. There's no way to like rectify that unless the devotee that I've offended wants to forgive me. Okay. But also, like you also said that it'll ruin all my devotional service, right?
Because Krishna is unhappy.
Yes, because Krishna is unhappy.
Okay, so that's one reason, one very good reason. Any other reasons you can think of? Anybody?
Oh, I have like when I'm criticizing others, I'm thinking more about what other people are doing instead of thinking about what I can do. Like I'm more focused on other people.
Sure. What else?
Where I will be reflecting negative thoughts onto my own consciousness.
There you go.
Which will echo back to them. So technically, I'm not seeing their faults, I'm seeing my own.
Well, not only that, it's like downloading those same characteristics that you're criticizing into your consciousness.
And like they often say, right? Every time you criticize someone, somewhere in your brain, you want to do it and you're not able to do it. And that's why you're like, how can that person do it and get away? And why can't I do this? You know, like I'd often see that in my college days and all, my parents were not okay with me going out, like coming back with sunset and all of those rules. And whoever went, they got no repercussions. So I would come back and I'd compare and I'd be like, they do it, but nothing happens to them. So why don't I get to do it? And so my mother would be like, the thought that you want to do it is equally done it, you know. So sometimes some people do it in like a manifested physical form and you do it in a head. So every time, like nowadays, if I feel like I'm criticizing something, you know what, I go ahead and I criticize, because the fact that I'm thinking of criticizing itself is criticizing.
Yes.
So just say it and throw it out.
Yeah. So have you heard of Raghunath Das Goswami?
Yes, Prabhu.
So he said something amazing. He compared Prajalpa, which very quickly results in criticizing other people, to a prostitute. This is Raghunath Das Goswami. He said, just like a prostitute destroys a person's wealth, character, family, just about everything for some momentary pleasure. Prajalpa criticizing other people is like that. Yeah, that's why I was laughing while you're stopping it. It's fun. It's fun to, let's face it, it's fun to criticize other people. It makes us feel better somehow. We're superior. We may or may not be, but while criticizing, we feel superior. But we don't understand that we're going to download those same characteristics in our consciousness, and we'll become like that one day soon. That's one thing. Second thing is, we are committing an offense that Krishna does not appreciate. Third thing is, it's a serious waste of time. Like, what's the long-term gain of criticizing anyone? So therefore, such a waste of time that displeases Krishna and makes you into a worse person. I mean, in the long term, nobody feels good because they were able to criticize somebody. So why do something like that? And there's another aspect of criticism. One is to do criticism. The other side of the same coin is to hear the criticism of somebody else. And by the way, that is also very pleasurable. We love it. When somebody comes and says, pss, 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 and we say, yeah, we are all ears now, and then we say, yeah, tell me more. We don't want you to stop it. Come on. There must be something more than this, on and on and on. Same thing, whether you say it or you hear it, the downloading happens. And this is serious virus. Your original database will disappear. It literally disappear. Your address, what do you call it? The list of contacts? There's a word for it.
Contact list, right?
Okay, contact list, fine. So contact list will disappear, substituted by a whole new set of contacts. So why do you want to do that to yourself? Right? Yeah, Kanaya, go ahead.
Yeah, I was in this context only, Prabhuji. Like, does any of the acharyas or Srila Prabhupada, do they have then a commentary of like listening to or doing the talking about somebody, or like how you were saying, like,
yeah, everyone is, that's where the word Prajalpa comes in.
Okay.
So Prajalpa means talking about anything other than Krishna or related to Krishna. And that's what we do most of the time. Your TELUS and Bell Canada and Saskia and all those, they made billions and billions because all of us love doing Prajalpa.
And Prabhu, once, we had a drama performance at the temple on Janmashtami. which year this is this? Oh yeah, this year. So like I had a very bold role to play. And so I was dressed up like in a very nice, like a Western dress and stuff, and with like all skin and stuff. So I was coming out from the washroom and I was like, oh my gosh, the amount of, I was like, kitte gali padne wale on the way, everybody, like, you should have seen, like, walking from the Govinda's restaurant. I know the intention of me wearing this because I have to do that act. And nobody took that role, because in the temple to wear such a dress is like, I mean, it's not in a bad way, but you're like, people look at you as if you're a prostitute. So I was like, oh my gosh. And I was like walking and, these aunties, and I understand all the languages. So that they're talking Indian languages. So then someone's like, देखो ऐसे कपड़े पहन के मंदिर में आते हैं, वो भी जन्माष्टमी के दिन, बहुत पाप लगेगा. Somebody's like, इसकी तो टांगे दिख रही है, like that. And I was like, oh my God, Krishna, because I was like, good. It was actually helping me, because that my role was very negative. So I was like, let the anger grow, let everything that has to grow. And then it was very good. The performance was
pumping
great.
up. It was pumping up to
It
enact
pumped up my ego in the right direction,
to
right?
enact
Yes,
it on the
ways. And it was very related. But then I was thinking about it in my head that there were some people, even though who saw me in that attire for the first time, who were like new devotees, or somebody who was seniors too, who looked at my eyes, like looked into my eyes and said, oh, you look beautiful. This is amazing. So pretty. And there was some Matajis, "Arey, ye kahan ka dress hai? Bahut sundar hai," Just the way you can see someone is got nothing to do with them. Like a person could be absolutely naked in front of you, but you could still look at them as a caring mother, look at them as a caregiver, look at them as a friend, so conscious. That shows your consciousness.
Exactly.
Not theirs, right?
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah. Sorry, Sudhanshu, you were saying? Yeah.
Regarding this question, I was watching a video on YouTube from Vrindavan. There is a Sampradaya, Radha Vallabh Sampradaya, and the Acharya name is Shri Radha Harivansh. He's a very famous Acharya in Vrindavan. And in the video, same question was asked, that how can we stop seeing faults in other people? And in that video, so what he said, in Bhagavatam, there is a Chaturshloki Bhagavatam, the very first verse where it's aham eva sam eva gare na anyat yat sat asat param tad pashtat aham yat etecha yaha avishayati so asmi aham, where Krishna says to where Vishnuji says to Brahmaji that it is only me who was existing before creation, it is only me who will be existing after creation, and whatever you're seeing right now is also me, no one else. So he was trying to explain this to us, that until and unless you don't start seeing Krishna everywhere, until unless you see that he's a separate soul, he's a separate entity, you cannot have the attitude that you don't see faults. So basically, whenever, according to my experience, what I follow right now, whenever I start seeing faults in someone, I imagine the image of Krishna, that Krishna is doing it, not that person. So in that way, in the faults also, you can see Krishna, and that way you're not committing an offense to that devotee, because it's Krishna. What fault are you going to see in Krishna? He's absolute. He's doing something that I am not able to understand, but the other personality is doing. Maybe I'm not able to understand it. So following that verse, it really changed a lot of attitude towards people from my side.
Also, just along the same lines, Prabhupada used to give example of honeybee and bee. Honeybee and fly. The honeybee always goes to flowers where the nectar is there. And the fly only goes to the filthiest of the places. Right? And I like to give the example of, has everyone heard the name of, oh my God, what's her name? Deepika Padukone. Everybody knows? Okay. Very nice, wonderful actor, quite beautiful. Just imagine she's coming to your house for dinner. Now, of course, you've told everybody she's coming to your house. So whole neighborhood, even from beyond, people are gathered in your house. She shows up. And everybody's saying, Okay. So happy birthday. And everybody's saying, oh, look at her earrings. Oh my God, so beautiful. The nose ring is so more beautiful. The necklace, the sari, the color. I mean, everybody's going gaga, right? And then suddenly a fly comes into the room. And Deepika happens to have a little sore on her wrist. Where do you think that fly would land?
On the sore.
On the sore. Does she care about the earrings or the sari or the color of the sari or the makeup? No, she's only interested in the sore. And that's the choice we make. Do we want to be a fly or do we want to be a honeybee? And a lot of us, unfortunately, make the choice of being a fly. We love criticizing people. When we can't find something real to criticize, we make it up. We literally make it up. I'm not even exaggerating. We make it up and then suddenly it becomes the truth. That's how the rumors start. Right? So we have to ask ourselves, who do we want to be? So those are some of the things, we can be conscious of and start doing.
Oh, I just have one question.
Uh-huh.
So just something that Sudhanshu said, but I was wondering if you could suggest an alternative to that. Like, so say I'm looking at someone and my mind is starting to point out all their faults or their flaws or whatever. And I feel like I'm starting to judge them. What can I do to take my consciousness away from like trying to judge them and trying to criticize them to something else? I know Sudhanshu was saying, think of Krishna doing it, but I feel like that's a little hard for me personally.
It is. Although it's the ultimate solution, but it is. Here's what you can do. Ask yourself a few questions. Anytime and every time you have a tendency to criticize somebody, ask yourself that question. Questions, I should say. First question should be, why does it matter to me? Does it really matter to me? Whatever bad things she or he has, does it really matter to me? By noticing it and developing some criticizing strategy, how I'm going to share my feelings with other people, is going to do me any good? Is going to do the other person any good? Third question, my seeing these faults and planning to criticize, does it help the person I'm thinking about or rather finding the faults on? Does it help that person? Fourth, does it in any way help the society? Fifth, does it please Krishna? If the answer to all five is no, you should think hard about, do I really want to do it? But those are not difficult questions to ask yourself. So just ask yourself those questions and you'll pretty well start. Now, some people are born that way, that they'll see the glass half full always, because everybody has some good qualities, right? Everybody. So, where do you want to focus? And don't do what I did to a friend of mine. We were just discussing this thing about half full, half empty glass and all that. So he brought in a glass of milk for me, made it half full. And he put it on the table, bang. I said, okay, Ravi, is this glass half full or half empty? So I said, give me 1 second. I picked up the glass, drank the milk, put it down on the water and said, it's empty. He was not expecting that. So don't do that, because then everything will be worth criticizing. But otherwise, just ask yourself those questions and see where you go.
Prabhu, I'm one of those people that always sees the glass half empty, not half full. Like, I'm one of those people.
So at least drink that milk, drink the other half. And then it's whole empty. Fine, but at least you got the milk.
Yeah.
And so it does require some training. Yeah. I think it has to do with a lot of factors in your life, in your surroundings, of course, inbred nature, many factors. but it's probably one of the easiest things to change.
Okay.
I'm not saying it's easy, but it's probably one of the easiest things to change. Literally, if you ask those questions, 5 questions, you'll see that your tendency starts to reduce very fast. Yeah, Siddhanshu?
One more thing I remember from the video of Radha Shyam Prabhuji from ISKCON Chowpatty, and the same thing he was mentioning, that whenever we see some faults in someone, we should always have a notebook with us at home, and the person whom we are seeing faults, come home and write 5 good qualities, but 5 good qualities he had. So in that way, instead of seeing faults, our mentality will change, that starting seeing good things in others.
Sure. Practice. Sure. Okay. So it's 9:45, or in Toronto it's 9:45, I guess 6:45 and 7:45 for Regina.
8:45 here.
Sorry?
8:45.
Oh, I'm sorry, 8:45. What do you call the time there? It's not Regina time, obviously. It's Mountain Standard Time?
Central time?
Central time, okay.
Oh,
All right.
sure.
Yeah, I couldn't remember.
Not sure. Maybe Sudhanshu Prabhu will be right.
I have no idea.
Okay, doesn't matter. It doesn't
That's
matter.
a good one.
Yeah.
I think so. It's the central time. I think so.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, CST, Central Time.
Oh, you checked it already.
Yeah.
Google Baba
Awesome.
Zindabad.
That's good.
If I think we underestimate the power of Google. You never know. Maybe it's Krishna's technical avatar.
Okay, so next month, what would you like to talk about? I can also share the list that we had made about a year and a half ago. Would you like to see that list, or do you want to have something?
That would be nice. That would be nice, Prabhu.
Okay, give me a second then. I'll have to look for it first.
No worries, you can. Yeah. Or maybe you can, if you're not able to find it, you can maybe forward it to us.
Yeah, I'm
later
sorry,
as well.
I can't.
Yeah, no, I mean, no rush for you. I mean, we are okay too.
Yeah, okay. I mean, otherwise, we can just simply talk about. Just give me one more second.
No problem, Prabhu. We're still on the West Coast. Time is late for your end.
Well, that's a nice excuse for me to use, but okay, give me a second. Share. Yeah. Okay. So if you can see, the red means we have covered it already. And black means that we have not. So once again, you don't have to choose from this, but I just thought I'll share it with you.
Well, I think number 9 would be nice for February.
Will be what? Sorry, say again.
Number 9 would be nice for February. For
February.
I think number 10. I think number 10 is good.
Yeah.
Yeah, how to preach and serve.
Okay, all right. So
yeah, I think so. Number 10 is also good.
Okay, all right. So that's what you want to do.
I mean, if majority feels that as well.
So let the majority speak. Once again, if you want to have something totally different, that's fine too.
Oh, could you talk about maybe, since it's the new year, right, in January, maybe like goals setting, like making New Year's resolutions, carrying out.
I like that. I think I would like want that, like goal setting overall, like even like our devotional like goals and everything, right?
Well, so when you talk about overall goal setting, you're talking about how to go about setting goals, or is it like what goals you should set, more devotional than material, or like what exactly is you're looking for?
Prabhu, I think I would like to have I like to know about some routine, like where like routine making in a way where you can put you can.
Then it can be point number 5th, finding balance in life.
Actually,
how about that?
Hand in hand, goal setting and finding balance.
Balance in life. Yeah, I think so. It comes closer to that. What you?
For 16, I was actually hoping, like, if you could teach us how to like let go of baggage. You know, like I accumulate a lot of baggage. Like I've accumulated a lot of stuff. I want to like let it go and start fresh, and like the new year might be a nice opportunity for me to really work on letting go of certain things, right? So that's what I'd like to learn personally.
I just can't spell it. Is that what you're saying?
That's okay, bro. It's Friday.
I'm sorry? So, Abhinav, is this what you were saying?
Yeah, Prabhuji, yes.
So, and by baggage, you mean all the bad habits and tendencies and
like negative thinking patterns, holding on to things that sort of like deplete me, those type of things. How to let go of them and start fresh.
So is this what everybody wants to go with? Next one? I mean, you can even make a list of number of things and then pick one from that.
This works for now. This is great for now.
Okay. So everyone else okay with this?
Yeah.
Okay, then we'll do that.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, I should make it.
Sounds good, bro.
I'm sorry, somebody said something.
And maybe the next time, like after that, maybe we can do the point number 10. That also look really prominent topic.
Okay. So coming meeting 16, one after that, number 10. All right. I'm okay.
You also do number 9, like just throw number 9 in and number 10 together.
Prabhuji wants to get married very soon, I think.
No, it's not that. It's just, no, it's just
he wants to get clarifications on, like, you know. That's good. That's good. I mean, we'll also.
So I mean, we'll cover if everyone's okay, all of them at one point or other. I think we're talking about the sequence like this time. So is number 16 still prior number 1 or something else has changed? Do you want to do number 9 as number 1 or number 10 as number 1, 16 as number 1?
only 16 as number 1.
I'm sorry?
Let's do 16 as number 1.
Okay. All right.
We can maybe just list, we can take the ones we've covered already, Prabhu, out of the list.
Yeah. So the red was you saying take it out.
Yeah, and we can just arrange them in a priority order. So that way, if we are done early with 16, we can just go on to 9 a little bit.
Okay. All right. So that's easy to do. Frankly, I like number 8 a lot.
That's a nice like play on words, bro.
Yes, it is. Okay. So now you want to prioritize from 9 to 17.
Actually, maybe after 9, could we do 10? I think that's a nice. I mean, I'd like to learn about 10 as well. That's
I mean,
something that,
they're all good topics. So I'm not so worried about what is good topic. I just need to understand, first of all, which would be number 1 between 9 and 17.
And 9 should be fine, bro.
Okay, so that's number 1. Okay, what's number 2?
well, could we do number 10 as 2?
I can do whatever you like. Okay, I would also like people who are not speaking to speak. So there's contribution from all. Okay, next.
Yes, number 10 is good, Prabhuji.
Okay. Number 3.
Finding a balance in life, Prabhuji, I think can be good for 3. Number
Sure.
3.
Okay. Everyone agree?
Yeah,
Oh,
that's pretty
haven't
fun,
we
bro.
done feeling gratitude?
Yeah, what about it?
I think we've done it.
It's possible. Maybe I forgot.
Yeah, I think we've done it properly. I remember doing it for some reason.
I would be interested in the masks one too. That topic is like,
Oh, wait a minute, what happened? Oh, sorry.
mask we wear in the temple and outside. That's related to the current situation. I mean, everybody's talking about COVID.
Okay, all right.
I believe, Prabhu, we can also like maybe combine the 15 and 17. I don't know. I just think it could
Yeah,
be an
that's a
extended topic.
that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Good thing together?
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
because
should be
if
fine.
you're talking about suitable life partner, then both of them have to take care of that other part as well. So
Sure. Okay. Is that number 4 then?
yes, Prabhu.
Yeah,
Yes.
we can do that.
Okay.
And number 16 we can do after. How to live life with non-devotees.
Perfect. So we are sorted till June.
Still few left. Number 13 is left and number 17.
Yeah.
Actually, I've got twice, so I'm just going to remove that. So number 16. Okay, so choose between 12 and 16, which is number 6.
Number 6 is 16.
Okay. Oh, by the way, if you don't like this number 12, we can even eliminate it. So it's not necessary that we keep it.
Art of communication.
It's technically, Prabhu, it's very important for every topic, right? The art of communication, because we are learning that also from here. So I don't feel like the need of it to be a separate topic unless somebody wants that to be a separate topic.
So let me tell you what this is. So it talks about, first of all, communication being a need, what kind of need it is. What is communication? It's both hearing and talking, listening and talking. What do you call it? My God, obstacles that we have in our communications. You know, the type of obstacles we have. How to get rid of those obstacles, how to be a better communicator. In my mind, I'll tell you, to be very honest, is one of the biggest issues people have in this whole world. Very few people know how to communicate. And that's why so many issues happen. I'm not talking about the husband and wife, just in general, it's communication issues. So it's very specific. And yes, we communicate all the time, but we don't necessarily know how to communicate. As a matter of fact, one of the points we make in this presentation is that this training in schools for everything, but on how to listen. Which school, which course, which credit course gives you training on how to listen? Same thing with talking. Where are we told how to talk? It's just not done, and it causes all sorts of issues, including relationship issues. I mean, the whole Mahabharata happened because of what Draupadi said. Right? Andhe ka beta andha hoga. You know, so many issues. Revolutions happen because the king is not listening. You know, people go on strike because the bosses are not listening. I mean, all sorts of things. So anyway, I'm not saying you have to go, but I just wanted to make sure we all understood what that is about. Anyway, I think we have enough to go for a long time. So next month, we'll talk about how to let go of baggage, negative thinking patterns, tendencies, and bad habits. Okay. You are all still okay with the format?
Love it, Prabhu.
Okay, thank you. So we'll
Yeah.
stick with that.
It's all good, Prabhu. Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Just a small request. I mean, I know it's I'm just being mean by saying this, but I don't know if it works for everybody. Can we start like around 5:30? Like, I want to be give my 100%, but I mean, totally, if it is only feasible for you and like, I know you are on the Eastern time. Like, if you can just start on.
There are actually 3 more people on Eastern time, so I'll have to ask them also.
Oh, okay. Sorry. My bad.
No, don't be sorry. I mean, don't be sorry at all. They're all here. So let's just ask them now.
Yeah.
You know, and so Sneha, Abhinav, and Himani, how do you feel about that? It's not the starting time, I think it's the ending time that might be a concern.
Okay.
Yes,
And,
Prabhu.
sorry, Sneha?
Like I at times I have other class at 10:30 of Bhagavad Gita. Like the
Oh, I see.
Prabhuji takes as per Vancouver time, so like the end time would be the problem.
Okay, so yeah, she has the opposite problem.
No worries. Then I'll just.
We could do it a
sorry.
little differently, just like to accommodate everybody's needs, where from 5 to 5:30 we could still meet and talk about like any questions or, like about some, because I remember Sudhanshu Prabhu bringing up about this thing about learning some verses. So maybe we could focus on some Gita or Bhagavatam verses in that half an hour. And then from 5:30 onwards, we could start the discussion. So that way we're still learning from 5 to 5:30, maybe some good verses we could do or something like that. And from 5:30 onwards, when Kanaya Prabhu joins us, then we could start with the discussion.
So I think the challenge is that we want to be sure that we are finished by 7 p.m. Toronto, Vancouver time. That's the challenge. So which is 10 p.m. Toronto.
Yeah, that'll be fine, Prabhu, because if it's 5:30 Vancouver time, we should be done by 7, right?
Well, today, for example, we've been going for more than 2 hours.
Yeah.
So
Well, it's fun for us.
The other thing is that we cut it off. We say, we're time bound, and no matter what, where we are in the discussion, we'll stop at 7 p.m. Vancouver time, 10 p.m. here, and 8 p.m. Central time. I mean,
Yeah.
there are ways to do that. So you can say dead stop, then we're going to start at 5:30, no problem.
I mean, only if it is feasible. Like today, how it was like I was still at work. I can still put up my earphones and listen. But the only thing is, like, sometimes I'm like I want to concentrate on the class, and
I understand. I understand that.
Totally. But as I said, like if it is okay for you to start at 5, I'm okay. Like I'll just put in my headphones and continue.
No, but what I'm saying is the starting time is not the issue.
It's the ending time. I agree.
So as long as we can agree that it's a dead stop, hard stop.
Yeah, I think, Prabhu, let's just do a hard stop at 6:45.
Okay.
Vancouver time. Yeah,
or
I
7.
think let's do that. Because even if it's like a soft stop, it'll end by 6:50-ish. So at 6:45, maybe we'll all know the class is going to end. So if the topic is getting wrapped up before that, we'll stop early, but we won't go further because I know it's 10 o'clock for you, and I'd be snoring in bed by then. So yeah.
No, that's a good idea too. And maybe around 6:45 or 6:50, as Jennifer said, that we can we can see the time, and then around the 10 minutes mark we can do the Q&As.
I think, Prabhu, during the class, I'll give us gentle reminder on the chat that we're going to wrap up in 5 minutes. I'll do that.
Very good idea.
That's no worries.
So that way nobody's feeling like they're being rude, and I'll just say 6:40 done, and then at 6:40
like a timer on the phone, like how we snooze it in the morning.
That's it.
Every 5 minutes.
Biggest problem.
Would do that in class.
Yeah.
Like when I would go over, they would just share their screen and they'll be like, "Time's up." on the presentation. Like, okay. So yeah, we'll do that, Prabhu. 6:45 hard stop. Done.
Okay. So again, I want to confirm with Himani, Abhinav, and Sneha that you're okay with that, because you are the ones who are most affected.
Yes, Prabhuji, like if it extends, then we can keep another session next month, like we did for this session.
Yeah, but the question is, are you okay going until 10 p.m. your time?
Yeah, Prabhu, I'm fine.
Abhinav, you're okay? Sneha, you are okay?
Yeah, Prabhuji.
9:45.
It gets, yeah.
Well, yeah, maybe 9:45 actually, yeah.
Yeah, 9:45 is
Okay.
fine.
And Himani?
Yes, Prabhuji, I'm also okay.
All right, that's fine. It's done. So
Sorry for the inconvenience.
no inconvenience, it's fine. So next meeting starts at 5:30 p.m. your time, 8:30 p.m. Toronto time, and 7:30 p.m.
7
Central time.
Central time.
So Sudhanshu, don't get
Haribo. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. I appreciate the participation.
Thank you so much, bro.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Happy New Year, Prabhuji. See you guys all next year. Hare Krishna.
Yes, thank you.
Hari Bol. Happy New Year.
Hare Krishna. Happy New Year to all of you.
To everyone. Hare Krishna.
Jai Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, beta. Hare Krishna.